Excellent. So thank you everybody for joining in. I have spoken to some of you, but this is just a bit of a refresher for some, as well as an opportunity to ask questions. So we are set up today for your questions. It's set up as a regular meeting. So please raise your hand, put a question in the chat. Stephanie is in the background as well, helping me manage the chat. So we'll capture everybody. But please, we are meant to be interactive here today. Yeah.
That means we get to sing then, Sam. Okay, you and me. Are you?
Sounds good.
All right, that's good. And Heather and Michael, I think, could join us. They could be the background singers.
So today we're going to go through about us, our team here at Coaching Out of the Box, as well as the ICF Credential. There's been some changes with the ICF in the last 6 months and a year and more coming. So that's why we've got Merv Rogers on board with us today. And then we will talk about our fast track program, all the details around that. And then of course, what your next steps are once you're done the program. Questions are throughout the whole session today. So please jump right in. Like I said, put up your hand. We want to answer everything that you've got today. Our founder, Allison Hendren. I always like to say Allison's world domination plan is to have everybody coach certified. And she's worked really hard over the years at doing that for individuals and organizations. Some of you already know this, but coaching is transformative. It changes the conversations that you have in your personal life, your work life, you name it. It really starts to reframe your thinking. And as you can see out from Allison's bullet points there, she's been working hard over the years at doing that. Now we're going to intro my partner in crime today, Merv Rogers. Merv is our Chief Coaching Officer here at Coaching Out of the Box. He works directly with our coach facilitators, our curriculum, and the ICF. So Merv, I'm going to put you in the hot seat. Tell us a little bit about you, and we will move into credentialing from there.
Well, I don't work near as hard as Allison does, I'll give you that. But, you know, my passion is coaching. I've been doing it for many years. You can see by this, perhaps, credibility here. So I would love each one of you to walk away with either answers or understanding to maybe questions you don't even know you had. Because this is kind of, I do remember the days when I was fussing with where do I get trained and what do I do and what does it really mean? And then I went to the ICF website and I was extremely overloaded with information. And then I went to a bunch of websites that people are training and they're telling me different things. And so I would sooner tell you what I know, and if it works for you, perfect. Then my day is complete. So please make sure that your questions are answered. That's why we're here.
Absolutely. The ICF website, there's a lot of information, a lot of pages there. So absolutely ask the questions. If we don't have the answer, we'll get them for you. So Merv, why should anybody get credentialed? What's to them?
Primarily because you get to wear an outfit like this girl, you know, why credential? You know, it's like anything. Why credential? You don't need a credential to be a coach. In fact, you don't even need training nowadays to be a coach because everyone calls himself a coach. But maybe that's why you mostly need the accreditation, is to really differentiate yourself from a variety of people and organizations that use the coach word to describe a job role that is fundamentally different from the one that a coach uses, right? And whether that be a sports coach or a sales coach or all those wonderful coaches, they're doing brilliant work, but it's different than the kind of coach training that you're looking at, right? And so why a credential? You know, I'll give you the kind of the typical thought process. If you're going to work with organizations or for organizations, many organizations now expect that level of standard. And why ICF is because it is the founding body of coaching. It is the one that sets the standards, sets the morality of coaching, sets the ethics of coaching, and holds us as professionals accountable for our work. So there's a level of credibility that goes along with that credential for sure. And so many companies are asking for it. Now that may not be, maybe you won't work for a company. Maybe you'll do one-to-one coaching, whatever it is. Not too many of my one-to-one clients ask me if I've been ICF coached or ICF credentialed. So I maybe don't need it for that, but I kind of need it for me. It's kind of one of those things that if you've passed the standard, then maybe you've got a license to do good work. You've got the courage to do good work, or so there's a confidence builder that credential gives you. And I would say that's fundamentally the singular reason why you might want to go for a credential, is to really have that validation that you're able to hold your own to other professionals, and that the service you offer to your clients is valuable, and is healthy and is functional for the clients. And so why credential? You're going to have to find your own way, but I would strongly suggest that, do it for you, and the business will come. How about that? If that makes any sense. Does that help?
For me, I like the accountability part, knowing that you can talk to your client, your coachees, that you're voluntarily aligning with the ICF and those code of ethics and core competencies, and having that for them to refer as well. You're not out on an island. You've got some training and that credibility behind you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and there's lots of certification out there, by the way, folks. You could blow your mind with certifications. Bob's coaching certification service. There's sales certification. There's I don't want to use names to disparage them, but each one of them, don't use the real name. Each one of them has a very narrow niche, and you're certified to their standards, and their standards great, but for their world. ICF, you are certified and validated to standards set worldwide. So if you have an ICF credential in, Timbuktu, and you happen to be working with a fellow coach that happens to be in Timbuktu or wherever they are, you're on the same plane, right? Versus, I went to Bob's sales coaching school, so I'm a coach now. I'm a certified Bob coach. Well, that's wonderful. I'm glad you know Bob, but are you holding the ethics? Are you holding the standards? Are you holding the fundamental 8 competencies that a fundamental business or life coach requires? And you can say you are when you have the ICF moniker on your badge. Yeah.
Okay. Any questions so far on credentialing? Okay, well, I'm going to move on to what is coaching. Oops, there we go. So the ICF defines coaching, and I'm actually just going to read it out because there is, for me, it's very, some emphasis on a few of those words that embodies coaching. Partnering with clients, customers, colleagues, or employees in a thought-provoking and creative process that inspires them to maximize their personal and professional potential. And I'm open.
I love this. And so let me ask the group, because we'd love your input. There's a lot of words on that page. And of course, the ICF have gone through many years defining that particular statement. Which words strike you as interesting or unique? Which words really attract you?
For me, the word inspire.
Yeah?
Yes.
Nice. So inspiring is important. What else is important to the folks that we're talking to here? And Heather and all again, bring it on.
It's Heather here. I like thought-provoking.
Oh, good. Yes. What else? What other words kind of pop out for you if to say, maximize potential? Thank you. I see the chat now. Thank you very much. They own it. Oh gosh, that is so important. Yeah, we don't do their work. Louise, you had a comment?
I think creative process, especially if you're working with youngsters and teenagers.
Oh, absolutely true. Absolutely true. And for me, because I'm an engineer by silly training, I love the word process, or process, right? Because it says it's repeatable. So, and when you talk about creative process, every creative process is slightly different, but the process you go through, the mechanism you go to unwrap that innovation is where it's consistent. And that's what gives the returns. Absolutely. Other thoughts? Yeah, the word that blows me away all the time is the word partnering. It just seems to level set stuff. It's not like, I'm training you or I'm leading you or I'm partnering with you. We're in this thing together. And in a very odd way with this profession, and maybe I'll try to explain this in another sense, another way, but we're only just a step ahead of the clients that we attract. I don't know if that makes sense yet, but as coaches, we're always having to evolve. And so as we evolve and we partner with our different clients, we pick up stuff too. We pick up nice, good baggage, and in essence, that's what is our attraction. And you can do all the marketing you want in the world as a coach, but it's that, you have something that your client wants. And so the partnering for me says that really nips it, that if you've got the creative process or the inspiration, all those wonderful things, that's the kind of client that you're going to attract and will pay you for your services. But you can't stop there. You have to keep partnering with new clients and deepening your training and deepening your skills, because that's the way a coach evolves. Right? Yeah, so that's a great definition, and I'm glad you found a piece of you in that definition, because that's says you're being drawn to coaching for a reason. Isn't it?
I'm going to step into the ACC requirements. So that is most likely what a lot of our students, that is their goal, not all of them, but that is the goal. So Merv, there's been a lot of changes with the ICF in the last year-ish. Did you want to walk us through a little bit of the requirements?
Yeah, and in a couple of minutes, you're going to see kind of a distinction that I'll draw, but and it's around the kind of steps towards certification, right? In the sense that regardless of what level of ICF certification you're after, and there's 3 levels. ACC is the first level and probably the wisest one to start out for. Then PCC and Master Certified Coach, or PCC, which is Professional Certified Coach, and Master Certified Coach is the next one. ACC can progress that. But that being said, all of them require coach training, coach education, and the ICF calls this coach-specific training, right? And what you'll come to see is that organizations such as ours, there's many of them, will offer a series of coach-specific training hours that you then can apply to your, you basically add it to your kit bag as you are going to eventually apply to the ICF. So that's what that 60 hours of coach specific training says. The ICF says you need a minimum of 60 hours from an accredited school, an ICF accredited school, because that school has been vetted and their program has been proven that it matches the competencies, that it delivers on the promise, and that it delivers to the ethics that is required by anyone who is going to get an ICF label, right? One of the requirements for ACC, the Associate Certified Coach, is that you have 100 hours of coaching under your belt. Now, if you want to go for PCC, that's a whole bunch more, and I should know the number. I think it's 250. So for MCC, it's like 2,500, right? So, depending on the level and depending on the hours of coaching. But the ICF says, look, I mean, you can get trained all you want, but if you haven't deployed it in a real life situation, then, how can you call yourself a coach? So 100 hours is the thing you want to go. And you'll get that, you'll have to get that through over time. And it could be a variety of people paying you, as in with dollars or with coffees or dinner, because that works. Or you do it for free, because that works too. And that's what that 100 hours means. It simply says, if you take your coach training and you demonstrate a proven track record of 100 hours of deploying those skills in a real life situation, then we want to make sure that you've got the guidance from outside. And so that's what these 10 hours of mentor coaching means. It means that you've teamed up with somebody who's already got an ICF certification, and usually MCC or PCC, and you've teamed up with them, and they've helped you really inculcate, what's the word I'm trying to come up with? They help you really make part of those competencies part of your behavior, part of your coaching style, right? And so the ICF says, look, you can get your 10 hours of mentor coaching a couple of ways. The minimum is that 7 of those hours is in group coaching, and our program provides that for you. And 3 hours are one-to-one. So you get like you will get coached for 3 hours specifically on your skills as a coach. And again, you get that through our program. So, this allows you to say, okay, I'm ready to apply for the ICF. And the ICF is great. Well, let's prove, and let's prove your stuff, and they put you through an exam, which is a multiple choice exam, really testing your knowledge on the core competencies and the ethics, right? So when you think about it, the ICF is saying, look, go get a standard level of training, a training that we can all rely on. Go get the experience. Have somebody watch what you do to make sure that you're doing no harm and that you're adding value to your clients. And make sure that you can demonstrate the knowledge that we would expect anyone that are in the ACC. And as soon as you have those four tick boxes, so to speak, then you can very easily apply for accreditation and probably get it, or not probably, and you would get it. And that's kind of the pathway. Does that make sense? So if you've read a variety of different things, those are the minimum requirements that ICF says you need for ACC status. Okay. Any questions about that? Have you seen anything different than that?
That's pretty clear, but I do have a question.
Yeah.
Regarding some of the timeline of that in your program.
Yep.
From what I see on ICF's website, it can take anywhere up from 20 weeks through the ACTH, I think. So once you do all the steps that you just described, then to apply, it could take up to 20 weeks for ICF to even review and approve to offer you the certification. Is that accurate? And if so, what kind of level of help and support do we get from you all in expediting that? It's just a big concern of mine.
Well, then let's alleviate that concern of yours, my friend, because although that is very true, Jeanette referred that ICF has done some changes, right? And ICF has not changed their criteria or standards, but what ICF has changed is who can, anoint people as trained. So this will confuse you. I'm sorry, but schools like ours had a ASTCH. I forget what the new damn accreditation is. Anyways, a whole bunch of letters.
ACT.
Yeah, that's it.
ACSTH. Yeah.
Thank you, my friend. That's it perfectly. That's it. All the schools that to provide the services that such as we had that level of certification, which simply says we promise that we've trained the student to the specific training hours. That's all that did, right? Well, the ICF said, well, we're going to give you a lot more clout, schools. So now in 2023, you can be the one that can not only train your people, but can also evaluate them to make sure that they meet our criteria. And if you evaluate them and you give them a gold star, and that gold star is called level 1, if you evaluate them and give them your level 1 accreditation, then we will take their application and process it like paperwork, right? So the difference is the 20 weeks that the ICF is talking about is if you only take coach training hours, then you have to send them your tapes. You have to send them all your student records. You will have to send that, and they will have to review all that information and then process your application, right? Now, and with this group, particularly with this fast track group in October, you are set up to have us do that with you. So is it 20 weeks? It'll depend totally on your speed and how many times, how long it takes to get the hours and all sort of thing. But the processing of the application is significantly less because you've got all the check marks, right? We will have given you all the check marks before you leave us. Does that make sense?
It does. And how do you guys help us with submitting the paperwork for them to say, okay, yeah, it looks good, and they approve it as simply as you just stated?
Yeah. So what you will a couple of ways is part of the second phase of the program. If you're going for ICF, there's never mind. I won't confuse you. The second phase of the program is where you submit to us recordings of you doing live coaching. We give you the feedback to that. We give you some sample examples of what the application needs to look like. And the application itself, because we will have done all the work together up to that point, the application itself is not that grueling. You just need to document what you see in front of you. You need to document that you've got 60 hours or more, document your 100 hours, document that you've taken mentor training. We do that for you. And document or apply to get a credential exam. So the application, once you get our level 1 gold star, is really more about paperwork and not as extensive as it might have been in previous years. Right. So we'll get you ready. Does that help?
Yeah, that's very good. Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah. And in terms of time frame, folks, in terms of from when you decide you want to be a coach to the time you get your ACC, our training part of our program, you could do it in about 6 months. You could also do it over 24 months, right? Your call in terms of how, but you can do the training part in 6 months. And you probably can get your 100 hours in over that 6 month period or longer. But in truth, folks, unless you can dedicate 100% of your time to this, you're probably looking about, 9 months to 12 months of cycle time from the time you start your training to the time that you get your little ACC badge, right? And part of that is processing time for sure, but a big part of it is just simply taking the education, building your portfolio of 100 hours. Those are the two big crunches of time, and everyone does it at different paces and speeds. Any other thoughts or questions? Oh, I got raised hands. Louise and then Sam.
Good evening, Merv. I would like to know, I've had my coach training at a training provider. I'm from South Africa. That coach specific training, if I understand correct, as what you explained now, I submit that to the ICF as part of the paperwork, and then they decide if that is valid enough to be able to continue, or they will advise me further. Do I understand that correctly?
Well, I don't think I would go that far. So just because you'd have to pay money for the ICF to say yes or no. So I think you'd want to do that work yourself. And the process you would want to invoke in the ICF is called the portfolio process. Okay. So, right. And so the process that we are part of is level 1 or ACSTH thing, that one. But for you, because you've got it from a variety of sources, then the portfolio pathway, and in that is where you can by yourself validate if what you have is enough, right? And if you feel it's enough, then you can apply. I would hate for you to spend whatever the price is now, $150 to apply, and them saying, nope, you're not ready, see you later, right? That would be unfortunate. So no, portfolio is the way for you to go, I think, given what you said.
Okay, so how would I know that the coach specific training that I've done would be sufficient for ICF?
Well, it'll
application?
depend on, did the provider you got it from, what was the status of the provider that you were trained with? Did they give you a certificate that gave you an ICF type of accreditation, whether it is the ACTP, ACTSHC, CC, whatever it is? I got to get that right. I've only been blurring that for about 40 years now. It'll be up to that school. If that school is an ICF certified school and their hours are ICF certified, then that's a bonus. If it's 60
Yes.
hours or more, then it's a bonus. If they're not
Okay.
certified, then it's a lot more paperwork and you might want to reconsider another program.
Okay, so I'm sorry for asking this, but what would be the other approach then? Would it then be this fast track to credentialing?
Yes, and so what our fast track to credential says is that we will give you the coach training and the hours and everything that you need. So I would say, if you want a quick assessment, is, let's have you validate that the training that you took would qualify because they were an ICF provider. If they're not, do you remember how many hours you took?
240. It was over 2 years.
Okay, well then you got a ton of hours there. So my advice then is go through the portfolio application process, and don't go through the paperwork for the portfolio, and in that you will help reveal the answers. And if there's any gaps, then perhaps we can help you with the mentoring, or perhaps we can help you with the credentialing exam, or those kinds of things, right?
Okay.
So that would be your first step. Michael, then I want to go to Sam. Michael, you had a question. Can I accumulate the coaching hours while I'm doing the courses? Absolutely you can. So from the day that you enroll into a course, you can start counting your hours. And yes, so some of your job responsibilities include leadership coaching. That's fine. Look on the ICF website for that, because some of those hours, if you're being paid for them, you'll have to document in special ways, because you can only document the times that you are actually coaching, right? You might have a job that says I'm a coach, but you can only, the 20 minutes that you were coaching somebody, you'd have to document those 20 minutes each time. So Sam, let's get to you. I've ignored you long enough, sir. What's your question?
Yeah, what comes up is the hours, right? As far as 75 hours paid.
Mhm.
Just how do you guys suggest or help or support us get those paid clients, or those clients to get those hours? Do you guys have a platform where we assist or some type of that approach?
Yeah. So what the cool part about our particular program is that when you go through our program, you will be asked to coach your peers in the class, right? You'll be teamed up with somebody and you'll get to peer. Many schools include that time as part of their program. We do not. So what that means is when you're going through our program, when you're coaching outside of the class, one of your classmates, that's loggable counting hours towards your 100 hours. So if you happen to practice with your teammates or your classmates, then that's immediately available for your log, right? There's only one course that does not apply for, but the other courses, anytime that you do coaching outside of class, even if it's with a peer student, then that is applicable to your log. We don't yet. We've all schools struggle with this idea of how do we help our folks get 100 hours. So first off is we make sure that you log them. Second off, we make sure that you log the opportunities that you are doing while you're taking the school as well. The other thing is we also make sure that you're aware of what paid really means. And I know this is being recorded and the ICF may hear it, but the truth is you get paid in money and you can get paid in, cattle or chickens or coffees or whatever. You know, and so providing that it's a pointable, a tangible point of you know, remuneration of some sort, then that's paid hours, right? And so that helps a lot, because normally what happens is coaches start in this business and they coach everybody that walks or that wants them, and you know, could you help me out, you know, my best friend, and providing you have a deal that, yeah, I'll help you out, but you're buying the dinner tonight, or I'll help you out, and you're going to provide me, you know, 100 hours worth of website development services. That's paid. Okay, so we try to demystify this idea of being paid. We'll continue to try to find options for our students to get real life clients. At this point, we're, you know, we're like most schools. We do what we can, but we don't have that funnel yet. Yeah.
And you mentioned, you know, as far as recording, right, to log. So if we do get a client, we, you know, and it's, you know, face to face versus virtual.
Right.
How do we log? What are the options that are in compliance?
Yeah, and so you can either get the log from us or download the log. Is basically an Excel spreadsheet. In the Excel spreadsheet, we document the person, the time, the what the deal was, the amount, and so forth. So it's really just an ongoing Excel spreadsheet log.
Oh, okay. It's not
yeah,
recording of our conversation.
Correct. It's not recordings of.
Okay.
It's not storing that kind of stuff. It's you know, you providing this log, and in that log is the name and address and the contact information of the person you coached, because the ICF has been known to call those people and to say, did Sam really work with you on this day? Right?
Oh, perfect. Okay, good. Great. Thank you.
Merv, I'm just going to add to that too with our students. We do also connect you on Slack channels within each one of your modules as well. And then also on LinkedIn, we have a couple of private groups for our graduates, as well as a group that's for all of our students. So that's all our students and all our cohorts. So that just opens up that world of reciprocal coaching that you can.
Absolutely. I mean, you know, you'll have, you know, 100, 120 coaches looking for another 120 coaches to coach. So yeah, so thank you, Jeanette, for that. I'm not sure if the next slide shows it, but maybe we'll move to this. Yeah, let's make sense of this one. Just to solidify kind of what I've talked about. What you see on the left of your screen, the dark blue, that's the coach specific training hours. All right, and as a result of going through the training courses and the mentor coaching, that's part of it, you will receive Coaching Out of the Box certified graduate coach. So you'll receive a certification, a level of certification from our organization that you're a graduate certified coach. For many people, that's okay. That's exactly what they're here for, and off they go, right? For those people that want to continue on to get the ICF accreditation, then that's the middle box that you see after, of course, the 100 hours we just talked about. That's that level 1 completion badge or certificate. And again, you can do that with us, and you'll upgrade your certified graduate coach status to be a accredited coaching education level 1 participant. I don't know what the word is there, but anyways, so you get your level 1 badge. And then as soon as you have your level 1, you just simply, we've already given you the certificate that tells you you've got the hours. We've already given you the certificate that tells you you've got the mentoring hours. You've got the log for the 100 hours, and you simply apply online with a fee. They process it like paperwork, and off you go, right? So you might look at it as kind of a 4-step process. Get the training, get to be a certified graduate. In parallel, get the hours, get your level 1 badge, which says it's proof that you're ICF eligible, and then process the paperwork on the website. Does that help kind of explain that pathway to accreditation?
Yes.
Now, what you'll notice, and I hope you notice, is you notice that the ICF requires 60 hours and we give you 108. And I'll tell you why that's a really cool thing. Because part of me says, well, why do I want to take more? And the answer is, what we've figured out is that if you take those 100 hours, you are really ready for your first client. If you take 60 hours, then you're probably practicing on your first client. And the 100 hours says, you know, you're ready, you're confident, you've got the depth, there's a program where you dive into your own personal stuff, so it's personal growth. You do those kinds of skills, and that really gets you, I wouldn't say, well, I'll call it more than ready, but certainly more than ready than 60 hours does. And if you ever want to continue on to the PCC level, then the number of hours you need to get there is smaller. Right? You don't have to take a whole new full-blown course. You need to take another course that offers another 25 hours. And so that's easy to get, right? So we've got you almost to the way of PCC. You're going to get your ACC accreditation. You're going to be absolutely safe and ready for clients. And then if you continue to want to go up the food chain in the ICF, then additional 25 hours or so, and you can apply for your PCC and more coaching hours, obviously, and you can apply for your PCC, right? So we do that very strategically because we want our people to be client ready. We don't want you to be practicing on your first 10 clients. Not fair to them. Other thoughts and questions?
One note, Merv, on the hours to the PCC level. So we are, like you said, 108 hours with the fast track program, and the PCC level is 125 hours. So you're really close. And then the coach experience hours are 500. So it's an additional 400 after your ACC.
Oh, that's true. Yes. Those are the toughest ones, gang. It really is. I mean, why, get your education in one shot and then work to get the hours. Those, I say they're tough. Yeah, you can't do it overnight. So they take some time, right? It takes some time.
Well, personally, in partnership with that, when you're doing your one-on-one mentor coaching part of the program, that also is going to help you really pinpoint where you need to work and where you need to grow in different pieces. And that as you continue through that, that's where your confidence comes. Yes.
Yeah, and so again, there's lots of really cool schools out there, and I hope you're looking at them, to compare. What we've said is we're going to include the mentor coaching. Many schools do not. Many schools just give you the education. Get your education hours and you're done. Pay for your mentoring hours later on. We want you to have the mentoring hours. We want, and that's why we can put this stamp of approval on you that you're a certified graduate coach. Why? Because as Jeanette just talked about, you've not only got the training hours, but you've worked with, a senior ICF certified coach on your own stuff, on your own abilities and your own ability to drive. So we have a level of confidence that when you go out to the market with that certified graduate coach, that you are ready to go. You have the confidence, and it's just now a matter of building a practice or widening your scope within the organization you're coaching in, and that's what's going to close the hours for. Yeah. We want you to be done learning by the time you're done with us. So all I can do is deploy, right?
Merv, I see a comment there from Michael.
Yeah, the video recording. Yeah. So what we require is we require one good recording, and what a recording means is it could be video, it could be audio, but whether it's video or audio, it's also a transcript, transcripted. We give you all that information to do that, so I don't want to muddle it up. But basically, for that middle light blue section where you see ICF level completion box, what we require is one recording of a coaching session, no more than 30 minutes long, 20 to 30 minutes long, where you are demonstrating the core competencies. If we can hear you demonstrate the core competencies in your coaching, that's what we're looking for, right? That's what the ICF is looking for. By the way, you're going to get confused because somewhere on the ICF, it tells you that there's 2 recordings required. And that's true if you apply for PCC. So don't get worked out and complain. That's why we want to make this real simple for you. For level 1, we require 1. We will audit it. We will assess it. We will give you feedback on it. If for some reason it's not what you want it to be or what we feel you need it to be, then you get to do it again. And I'm sure you'll pass it then.
Questions on that path to the ACC before we move into the fast track program? Not that you can't ask questions throughout or at the end, but just before we moved through. Okay, if there is, do pipe up. I'm going to move into now about coaching out of the box. More specifically, we have a core team beyond our program that is available to all of you as you're entering and looking for a program to answer your questions as best we can, as well as while you're a student and when you're a graduate. Because like Merv's talked about, as you finish the program, you might not be ready to apply for your credential, but you still have questions along the way. You might need some support along the way. We are always here as a team. Pablo is our Chief Operations Officer. Merv, of course, our Chief Coaching Officer. Stephanie is on the call as well. She's our operations. And she is always on the back end helping with the technological parts of our programs as well. And then I'm here to fill in the gaps from them. So we're always here, always available by email as well as on our Slack channels. So our approach to our fast track program and to get you all the way to being a coach is teaching you the skills, the framework, the core competencies, so that you can learn the process. And then you learn by doing, by being the coach. So we're going to teach you and then all the way through to when the training wheels come off, so to speak. Our fast track program is in a sequential order. If you take the bundle program that is within the 6-month schedule, there's no prerequisites. We give you all the tools that you need. That being said, there is an opportunity to slow it down if you need to. With the fast track registration, you do need to commit to finishing the program within 18 months. With the preset program, like you've seen, you probably all looked on the website and seen the date schedules there. We have cohorts that start every 2 months. The October cohort is evening by Pacific standards. And then January starts in the daytime programs. So the 555 is going to teach you the framework of coaching. And I've listed there, it is, we always call what you need to do, who you have to be, and how to do it. So there is some specific guidelines on that. And for a lot of us, it's reframing our thinking, depending on where we've come from, what our background is, keeping us in coach lane, in the passenger seat, which I know for me has been a bit of a challenge to do that. But then you just have a little car on your desk reminding you to be in the passenger seat. The Coaching Fundamentals program will start within a few weeks. And we start that fairly quickly because you need to have the core competencies and the code of ethics in your coaching conversations. So as you're learning how to coach, you also need to know what pieces need to be in there so that you'll be successful at the end of your journey for that ICF credential.
Can I ask a quick question about the timing? I'm working on getting tuition, be able to pay for this program through my employer, and it's kind of a lengthy process, but they want me to be finished with it before the program starts. If for some reason I'm not able to meet that deadline, based on what you said, it sounds like the next opportunity I would have to start would be in January. Is that correct?
That's
or is
correct.
it where a situation where I could, just start my module 1, say in November?
With the next start for 555 module 1 is October. There is a few opportunities in there, and sorry, I don't have my full screen on there. Can I connect with you after about a few different options? There is a few because you do have the opportunity to miss 2 classes per module. So there is that. If you're maybe a week past, then we can have you start 555 a week late. What that would mean is you would then watch the recording of the video. and fill out a short class report on the bullet points in the curriculum.
Okay.
So there's a few options there that it's just easier if we can do that one-on-one to see what specifically you need and how we can help. But there is absolutely options there to answer your question.
Okay, great. I called in, but do you have a way to reach out to me? Because I actually have to get off the call here in just a second. Too.
Absolutely. I'm sorry, I don't see you highlighted there. What was your name?
It's the phone number.
Yeah, I had to call in. Zoom.
Stephanie,
We
can
can't
you
Zoom at our
note
place
it
of
up
work.
for me?
So is that a good callback number for you?
I'm not entirely sure which number it came through.
Okay.
But
Well,
I don't mind.
Okay. Stephanie, can you?
If you give me your email, I could just
Of course, advisor@coachingoutofthebox.com.
I'll follow up with an email
Okay.
at
perfect.
coachingoutofthebox.com.
That's right. Perfect. Yeah, because it is individual in some cases when employers are paying. We have that a number of times. So absolutely, that's something that we work with to make it. We want you in the program, so we're going to see what we can do. And then Stephanie's letting me know that she can get the information for me to contact you as well when we're done here. So not a problem. So with the program, that third module is more, it's about yourself, but it's also about details that you'll find in your clients, your coachees. But primarily, we want you to be the best coach that you can be. You need to identify some of your own roadblocks and diversities and work through them and be prepared to talk to that with your potential coachees in the future. Module 4 that's when we get into group mentor coaching. So that's where you're going to be in the hot seat. You're going to be in your program with your cohort, and you're going to be coaching live and getting some real-time feedback at the end of those sessions. And those hours, those are your group mentor coaching hours for your ICF credential. At the same time as that class starts, with the fast track program, the mentor coaching program opt-in will come to you by email, and you'll be choosing your mentor coach from our roster. And those are the classes that Merv was referring to, as the sessions that Merv was referring to. You're going to set those up with your coach with your own calendars. The last one is the credentialing assessment prep class, where we help you get ready for that exam and the application process. Is there any questions within that, the curriculum there? Any questions that we didn't go through? There is, I mentioned quickly about missing a class. The ICF does allow us to allow you to miss up to 2 classes. And I see Sam's got his hand up there. So I'll just finish this, Sam, and then grab you. The ICF does allow us to allow you to miss up to 2 classes per module. So what will happen in that case is our system sends you a reminder to watch the class recording on our student portal. And when that is done, you fill out a short class report, making sure that you capture all of the curriculum. That being said, you can also, let's say, I always liken it to there's something good that's going to happen. Maybe you're about to start personal groundwork and you win the lottery and you're going to take 2 months off, take a world cruise, whatever you're going to do. We can defer your program. So just be sure to connect with us, and we can make sure that that works within your 18-month timeline and also allow you to go for your cruise. And Louise, I see you're asking a question there as well. So Sam, I believe you had a question.
Yes, just curious, the exam, how long is the exam? When I see exams, it's kind of like I'm going back to school, and this is real.
Well, let me tell you about the exam and why we choose to prepare our students for it. Right? Not many schools have this. The ICF exam, I'm going to tell you the ugly part of it, is up to 4 hours long. It's proctored, which means you go to a place that you're watched, and you take the exam online, and you leave. So it's secure, it's validated, it's official, it's professional. The exams, don't quote me on the number. I think it's about 155 questions or something, and so that's why you've got kind of 4 hours to do it. So that's what the ICF administers. That's how they do it. If you can't go into a local place to get the exam, then there's an electronic way where you have somebody actually watch you, honest to God, watch you on your computer as you take the exam. So there you go.
I want that job.
Yeah, I know, right? So it's equivalent to many other professional licenses. If you get any other kind of certification, then that's the same process they use. Now we get you ready for that. So we have a 6-week course that says, okay, these are the kinds of questions that you're going to get. This is how you need to think. This is the experience that you're probably going to go into. So what we found is, as daunting as the rigidity of that process to take this awful exam is, you're ready. Yeah. And at the end of it, you'll kind of go, oh, thank goodness it's over, and you're done. Never have to do it again.
Right.
But
Thank you.
And just to answer, Golfer's got a comment in there as well as a credential exam multiple choice. It is.
Yes, multiple choice. This is fascinating. And again, this follows many other profession certification as well, is they give you a scenario and they give you 4 options to select which is the best option and which is the worst option, right? So it's a 50-50 shot of getting them right, if you know what I mean. But anyway, so you get 4 options. So, and all of them are answered using the filter of the ICF competencies, right? And so one of our programs in the CAP program is to teach you to think like the ICF. That's literally what we do. We don't we teach you to think as the assessors do, so that you can get through the exam. What you do after the exam, you can think any way you want, but we get you ready to think ICF.
Well, part of that class too, Merv, is the conversation that you have with your fellow students while you're doing that, where it helps change your thinking too, where you might not have seen that
Right.
Clue
Yeah.
in the
Yeah.
word that will get you on the right track. So that's that constant talking through it as well that'll help.
Yep, for sure.
Okay, so there was, Louise had a question, but I'm about to answer it with the next slide. She was asking about 1 module per month. The fast track cohort schedule is set up where you'll be doing 1 program for a few weeks, and then coaching fundamentals starts. So in the calendar there, the fast track, for example, October 24th in the red, you'll start 555. And then on November 9th, you'll start coaching fundamentals. And then of course, one ends and another starts. So you'll run straight through. And I think except for the odd holiday Monday in there, you'll be running 2 classes a week until May the 1st, 2023. So it is 2 classes a week, 90 minutes each class. And each class has fieldwork, homework. Depending on the program, depends on the fieldwork. 555, you're reading a lot because you're learning about the framework, you're watching videos, and then coaching fundamentals. It's the same, but it's also different because you're learning about the core competencies. And then with all of those, you're a lot of coaching. So one question I get from a number of potential students is, how many hours a week do I have to do fieldwork outside of those 2 90-minute classes? For me, it depended. I mean, number one, how fast you read, but it's anywhere from 30 minutes, I'd say, to an hour, hour and a half per class. And that big range is, let's say me and Merv are partners for 555 this week. We're really busy. We only have 20 minutes each to coach that week for a reciprocal session, but I'm partnered with Sam on our coaching fundamentals. Well, Sam's like, let's go for it. I've got all the time this week. Let's do 45 minutes each for coaching. So that's where your time frame can change. And that's an agreement between you and that individual each week. It's not set in stone. It's what you both agree to. Any questions about the schedule there? And that is just the October. The January, I believe off the top of my head, is Tuesdays and Thursdays, and it's daytime, which is 9:30 a.m. to 11 a.m. Pacific time. Love it that my color coding is clear, apparently. Excellent. Okay, so any other questions about the fast track program itself or ICF credentialing? Any things that we didn't answer there, Louise?
Thanks, Jeanette. This is very informative. Thank you for the color coding. I enjoy the color coding.
And how it works with my brain myself.
It's really well put out. I'd like to know when you do the sessions in October, say the 24th of October, it's an online hour. I think you said an hour and a half a session.
That's correct. That's correct.
Okay, so it's a physical online session that we attend, and it's like a teaching session type of situation. And then we get homework for that week, and the next week we report back, and then it's the next session.
That's correct.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
And
Thank
then
you, Jeanette.
as much as reporting back is the field work is really preparing you for the next step of the curriculum so that you continue your learning. And it'll be up for discussion, some of that as well, depending on what it is. But the field work really is preparing you for the next class. And then it's 90 minutes each session.
So that would be, in a sense, your practical for the next session then. Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. And they are all live Zoom classes, and that is an ICF requirement. And all of it sits on our student portal. All the materials that you need are included in the program. They're all digitally on Porto, as we nicknamed our, humanized our student portal. So a little bit about coaching out of the box. We have put through more than 33,000 people now through our programs, 38 countries, all levels. Our students come from, we lately just put them in about 4 different categories, but our students are anywhere from people starting out in the world, people that are looking to add to their current toolbox themselves about maybe their employer wants them to have more skills. Maybe there's an opportunity within their current role. Maybe it's just upping their game. But also there's people that are looking to open their own coaching practice. Or maybe they're heading towards retirement. They're looking for more flexibility in their life and in their day and some more control. So our people are, in every sense of the word, all over the map. And that's what's going to bring the richness to your cohort, is the people that you're within that group with, the people that you get vulnerable with, because you're coaching them and they're coaching you, and you really get to learn who they are. And that's where a big piece of your program will come from as well. So like I said, our coaches and potential coaches come from all different areas. You might just be looking for the first step of coaching. You may want to start with an a la carte, we call it, our 555 coaching skills program. If you're looking for your credential for that with the ICF, that is the fast track program to make sure that you have all the hours as well as the mentor coaching that you need. If you've already had some of your training, I believe someone was talking about they had some pieces of training, then you may only need to fill in the gap. So there's a couple of programs there. Atara, I see you have a question.
Yes, thank you. And you might have just answered it, but I want to be clear. So if I did start with the 555 and found that successful, and I got my feet wet, can I re-enter into a fast track, or do I have to finish module by module on like a different set?
Absolutely, absolutely. What we tend to do is, if you're taking the a la carte, we call it the 555 as a standalone, we'll send you a note partway through, just seeing if you did want to transfer into the fast track program. There is a bonus of starting with the fast track monetarily. If you chose to do every program as an a la carte, then you will end up paying about $1,000 more versus the fast track bundle. But if it is a bit about you want to try it first as well, if you choose to start with the 555 and then transition to the fast track, we'll send you a $500 off coupon. So that way it's not the same monetary bonus, but it is still better than doing it a la carte, one by one.
Thank you.
You're welcome. There is a really big benefit to being within a cohort as well and staying with that fast track schedule. Like I was saying, the connection that you have with them really is, I can't state enough how important that is to your learning and your experience. Just a personal thought process. The next one here that we're looking at, if you're an experienced coach, there's still some pieces there as well that you might need for your CCE. So that's your renewal every 3 years of your coaching credential. There's a certain number that you need. And then last but not least, once you're finished your training, maybe you want to train within your organization. So we do have options for that, train the trainer. And that is where you'll be able to deliver the 555 program outside of our organization. You're still connected to us, we're still support with you, but that is where the training wheels are off and you're teaching, facilitating that one program within organizations. Okay, any questions? Anything that we missed, I should say? Anything in there? I appreciate Merv, you coming on today and going through those details of the ICF. There's been a lot of changes there that's been really beneficial to potential coaches.
My pleasure. I hope to see you in class. I think we'd have a blast. So yeah, that'd be fun.
Excellent. I'm going to stop the share here. Just there we go. If there's no other questions, thank you guys for joining in, and we will send the recording. And I want to thank Stephanie for being my backup there as always, just in case my training wheels fall off or anything. She's there to hold me up. And thanks, Merv, for coming on.
Pleasure, folks. Good luck in your journey. If it's not with us, please find one that is even better than us and just be a coach, because it's a lovely, lovely life. I love what I do. And if I can share that with you, I will. So I look forward to seeing you in class. I hope. Cheers.
Thank you.
Everyone.
Thanks, everyone.